Hey everybody, so we're gonna do another update. I think since I have this opportunity, I'm just gonna kind of do a handful of videos with this stuff and kind of walk you guys through what I do for a restoration. So kind of show you some of the stuff that I take care of as I go along and some of my processes with that. So that way you're not just seeing finished product stuff, you're actually seeing some more in depth on what I start with sometimes and then what it ends up to be. So I did end up having to easy out that bolt. The and I can see why the head was completely stripped because even with the easy out, that took a lot of effort. I have some penetrating oil on that right now to kind of loosen up. It was still extremely tight to get out. I thought for sure it was going to break on me when I turned it the first couple times because it was very stiff and it was popping with every turn. So I was kind of worried that that was going to break down in there. But so come on, let's focus here, phone. There we go. So I drilled out the head, drove the easy out down into it pretty good with the hammer, and then started to crank on it and finally got it to pop loose and not break. So that's good. I don't have to completely re-drill out that hole and get the rest of the bolt out. So, and then I've been working on tapping all of the bolt holes and the bells, and then I've even got the manifold done. It's going to be hard to see right now just because everything is still kind of dirty, but the threads are all nice and cleaned up. Got a lot of junk out of there. All this is stuff from the manifold, and then all the bells. A lot of crap in the threads. And I do anything I tap by hand. I know some people use drill presses or other means of tapping. I do it by hand just because I don't want to ever worry about breaking a tap or ruining what could have been really good threads. So everything I do is by hand. Take it very slow, work in and out, back and forth a lot, and I'll kind of show you. I got these nice T handles. They are adjustable. My phone is not having a fun time today. Focus. There we go. So they have screw-ins on, so you can use a couple different sizes, and I got a bigger one and a smaller one laying right there. And I'll show you what sizes you need if you want to tap your own stuff like this. And we'll see if I can zoom in on it without it being all blurry. So this is a, oh come on, we had it. So it's a 3/8 by 16. So basically 3/8 is your size of the hole, and then 16 is your thread that's on there. And of course that's having a hard time. Sorry guys, I don't know why my phone's been not wanting to focus on things very well lately. There we go. And I every hole I tap, I make sure I wipe out the flutes. That's that area right there where all the junk builds up in. So that's what I use for tapping all my manifolds. It's all the same size except for the your bottom. That's a 1/2 inch pipe tap. It's going to be different than a regular bolt tap. And then for the back cap bolts and the diffuser ring bolts, they are the exact same. It's a 1/4 20. There we go, 1/4 20. And same thing, I take my time, work it down a little bit, then back it out to get some of that crap out of the actual threads and into the flutes. And then until I go all the way through, I do each bolt hole individually, and then I go back and then just do another round really quick just to make sure everything's really cleaned out. The 1 bell and 3 bell are done, and we'll come over here and we'll just get a bolt in general. So we have a 1/4 by 20 by 1 that we'll just use as our test bolt. And you can see I can turn that with ease all the way down. And then the threads come all the way through. And I'll check it. I'll check each hole with this, make sure my tapping was successful, make sure there's nothing holding it up. So I do a lot of that stuff. And then the diffuser rings, we'll clean those up. I'll soak those in PB Blaster for a while, and then I'll use a Scotch-Brite pads, clean those up really good. I have a couple different easy outs. I got the spiral type, and then I also have the fluted type. I kind of have more success with the fluted type, but this one actually worked a lot better with the spiral type, just because of how wallered out the hole was, and then the hole that I drilled, it worked a lot better for using that. I did try to use a fluted one, and it wasn't working out very well. And I don't really have a tap handle for that. I am going to get a nice T-handle like I have for those. For this right now, I basically just use a crescent wrench. It gives me a lot, if I use a bigger one, it gives me a little bit more of a turn on it, so I can really crank on it. I actually had to get it to break loose, I had to hold I had to get on the floor, hold the bell down with my knee, and then use both my hands to, one hand to stabilize the tap so I wasn't bending it one way or the other, and then the other hand to crank on the wrench. And you can see we got it up quite a ways. I'm not worried about it breaking now. It's out far enough and it's moved far enough without breaking, so that'll be good. And then so once I get all this done, once I get that out, we'll tap all the holes on this. I've already took the O-rings out. We will take a correct size drill bit and drill out these holes. We're not going to make them a bigger size, we're just going to clean out all the crap in there. And then I'm also going to take, well, I guess I didn't pay attention. You can see, let me get it in some nice light here. So you can see just how much buildup is around that inlet. So these things, they get dirty enough and then they start restricting themselves. And then you get a lot of buildup on the nozzle ring. And just a combination of a lot of that is how horns get fouling really bad. You get a lot of crap built up on the diaphragms. All that can cause your horns to sound terrible, or sometimes not sound at all if they get too gummed up with stuff. Sometimes the bell will just stop working completely. I've seen that happen. You can see this one's a little bit cleaned up from what it was earlier. I just straight off the bat I use a softer, still kind of a thicker bristle, but it's not metal, it's just fiber bristles, and I just kind of use that to get some of the loose crap off. So like I guess this one's not too bad, but like a lot of that I'll just kind of scrub. This is just a very simple cleaning before I go to before I have them soak, because I don't want all that loose crap just sitting on there and making a mess of when I soak them in PB Blaster. So I'll clean anything loose. I will do my best to get out of there with this, and then we'll soak it. I'll probably let it soak for a day. Sometimes I get a little caught up with other things. The 4-bell that's in here has been soaking for about a week now. It doesn't really matter if they soak for about a day, they're fine. Typically I can get off whatever's on there. This one had a lot of soot on it. not really the reason why it's been in here so long. I've just been busy with a few other things, trying to wrap up some projects. So this one will be ready to clean when we get to it. It's been soaking for a while. You can see a lot of the soot has been running out of it, so we'll get that taken care of. And then the manifold will soak for a while. I just wanted to get all my holes retapped and cleaned out before I soaked it, so that way when I go to actually clean it, all that junk that's left over, all the leftover oil, all the penetrating oil that I'm using for this will all wash out when I do my washing, and then all my bolt holes will be really nice and cleaned out. It's kind of pointless to clean everything up and then go and tap your holes and then have to clean it again, so that's why I kind of start off, get things apart, tap the holes, clean everything out, so that way everything's ready to go after I do the wash. My washing process is on them. And then these I'm going to soak. These are going to have to soak for a little bit. I did label the 3 back cap and the 1 back cap. I'm going to try and keep those with their bells. You know, this one's the messed up one, so we're just going to replace that. It's not error correct anyway, even though it's shop correct, I guess. This horn, from what I've been able to tell, it was a parts mutt that was built in the shop. I believe it started life as a 80s K5LA, and then when they shopped it, for whatever reason, they put a standard 3-bell on it. I sadly don't have the 2 and 4A for this, so I'll just have to go in my parts stock and get some bells for this. I was thinking about just making this my K5L, since it already has a standard 3. We might actually end up making this a K5LA hybrid. Just kind of depends on what I can do here with the parts that I have. So we'll kind of think about it. Because I was planning on that being a 3A and making this a K5LA, but with that not being a 3, I do have another 80s 3. I might just clean that up and put it on something else, or I might try to just make this horn, use all the original parts and just make it a K5LA hybrid. We'll see. Just kind of depends on what I can accommodate. You can see this has been a horribly messy project, just all the crud that's inside the bells, everything that's come out through tapping and all that. So restoration projects like this they're a mess and they're a pain in the butt, especially when you have bolts break on you. Luckily, especially with that one, very lucky, no bolts broke on this. I have had some where I've had multiple bolts break. That takes a lot of time. Then I got to take the bell out to my out to the garage, get it on the drill press, drill out the broken bolt, retap it, and do all that. So some of that can kind of get a little lengthy. But so far, with the exception of that, but you know, it didn't break. So that's a win in the category there. This, like I said, it does have a lightweight diffuser ring. The diffuser ring is loose now that bolt's free. So either way, I'll make something really pretty sounding with all these parts. Just got to take the time to clean them up. And like I said, I'll probably do a couple more videos, so that way you guys can really just kind of see the befores and afters. So next time you guys see this bell, the inside of power chamber will be looking a lot better. Like I said, there's going to be staining in there that I cannot get out. There might be some deeper corrosion that I can't get out, but overall she's going to be really clean. I'm going to make sure of that. Make sure the nozzle ring is completely clean. Make sure the outer ring is as clean as possible. A lot of these outer rings you can get decently clean, but some of this stuff that's really ground in there, you always can't get to that. So, or you can't always get to that. Let me talk right here. So even though these get pretty clean, there's still, you can still see spots in them, but you go to feel it, it's going to be smooth, it's going to be clean to the touch. That's basically what I'm going for, is everything is absolutely as clean as possible, clean to the touch. I'm not going to have any foreign debris flying around as it's honking. So, and then same thing with this one. This one, we'll get that nozzle ring addressed, recondition that up really good, clean, try and clean as much of that corrosion out of there as possible. Even on the inside of the throat of the bell, you can see that's pretty gnarly in there, so we'll try and clean all that out. Some of that almost looks like a mix of corrosion and moss, so it's kind of interesting. And then we'll work on extracting the diaphragms and the cushion rings out of the back caps. Sometimes, and I'm not going to do that, I'm not going to do this while I'm filming, but most of the time I can just take the back cap, and with a lot of force and being repetitive of slamming it down, they eventually do start to work themselves out. But I'm not gonna do that while I'm filming, because it gets pretty loud, and I have to use both hands for that, so you guys wouldn't see it anyway. So that's just going to be some of the behind the scenes stuff that you guys will just see the afters of. We'll try and salvage the diaphragms. They don't look like they're too bad, depending on how they clean up. I don't know, this one's got a lot of stuff on it. It does look like somebody attempted to clean that at some point, because it's got all these wire marks on it. I'm guessing that's from the rebuild that it went through back in '95, because normally if it was an untouched diaphragm, wouldn't really look like that. So either way, we'll look at those. We'll look at the front one, back one, see how they are, check the cushion rings. If the cushion rings are good, we'll clean those up, add them to the collection over there, and then try and figure out what is salvageable for this horn, and then what I'm actually going to use for this horn. So yeah, guys, you'll be just kind of following along next few videos. I'll just try and make it pretty simple and just kind of show you some befores and after. We might do another horn talk sometime this weekend, because once I get these apart and they're soaking, ain't really going to be too much to see on that until I get the cleaning done. And I won't show you the cleaning process, because I already did a cleaning video. So if anyone is curious on seeing just what I do for cleaning, you can refer back to that one, and then you'll see the afters of these. That's why I'm just kind of taking some time to show you what they look like right now, because the next time, after they're done soaking and we start cleaning, they're gonna look a lot better. So I will not be reusing the original bolts. I don't care much for the serrated bottoms on these. I do use some with serrated bottoms, but they grip a little bit more than they should sometimes, and they can kind of be a hassle to get out. But I will be using flange bolts on this horn. It is an 80s horn, so I will be using flange bolts. I'll just try to see if I can find some nice looking ones without serrated bottoms. A couple of my horns over here have nicer ones. This one I think is from one of my earlier horn talks. This is my 80s wide font K5LA, all built from parts. This one has the inch-long flange bolts. So they're prototypical flange bolts, but they're not graded bolts. So they're stainless steel, and they do not have the. So I'll just lift that up for you guys. And they do not have the serrated bottoms on them. They're just a smooth bottom. So that way, if I need to work on this horn in the future, or when I go to paint it or whatever, I can get the back caps off really easy. I don't have to worry about corrosion happening. Honestly, I don't have to worry about corrosion happening anyway. I don't ever plan on taking my horns out on a rainy day. So it's a lot of work to get the corrosion out of them. So I don't really plan on running them whenever I do have a mobile rig. We'll do it on nice days. So probably gonna use some of those parts. I don't know, I might, because my K5L here is kind of a parts job. I might strip that horn apart and kind of combine some of those parts with some of these parts and see it's either going to be a K5LA hybrid or it's going to be a K5L. That's all I can really tell you guys for right now. So yeah, that'll be it for this video, guys. Just kind of show you some of my processes. We'll go through it more as I continue cleaning these up and just kind of show you guys a little bit of what I do. So hopefully you enjoyed. Hopefully it wasn't too boring. If you guys have any questions that I didn't explain very well, or anything that you want to know more of what I do, just comment below. I read every comment. I comment on every comment. I appreciate the support. So till next time, everybody, take care.